So part of our mission in Madison County Schools is we want to create and support high-quality public schools. We want to maximize student achievement, expand their opportunities, and really prepare our graduates to be successful when they get out in the world. That's our mission. Everything we do is driven behind that. So as part of that, just to tell you a little bit about ourselves, if you don't know, is we have 27 standalone schools. We have 2 centers with a Career Tech Center and a virtual academy. We have over 2,300 employees, over 19,000 students when you count pre-K. We run over 200 buses morning and afternoon, and over half of our students ride those buses, so over 10,000 passengers. We've got a lot of moving pieces going on. It's a huge team effort into our schools. And what we want to be, and kind of my goal coming in, and what all of our administrators have bought into, is we want to be an elite school system. So if you're an elite school system, what are the fruits of that? What shows when you're an elite school system? Well, you got to be fiscally responsible. You got to be able to have a plan. You got to have academics and programs that support academics in place. You've got to have professional development. You got to be able to serve your students, not just academically, but in all other areas of their lives. You got to be able to withdraw in community support. And in the end of the day, you got to be able to perform. There's got to be, the scoreboard counts on that. So those are the signs of an elite school system. So we're going to go through each of those just a little bit here. As far as fiscal responsibility, we're pretty in a unique situation where Alabama is low funding compared to the United States, but we're one of the lower funded school systems in the state. We're about 113 out of 137 school systems in per pupil funding. And so what that is the framework that we have to work around to not lower our standards, because lowering the expectations of our students is not going to be the option. So if you're going to be confined in those constraints, you've got to be able to plan accordingly and be very strategic. You got to account for every single dollar in our school system. One of the things that we are focusing on is some of our deferred maintenance and safety. In just this past year in our safety improvements, our elementary and middle schools, we've focused on single point entries, where there's only one way in and out for parents and visitors. In our large high schools, we use double point entries for our visitors and parents, and then another for students to come in and out. We partner with the sheriff's office. We're going to be upgrading our video and camera systems. We've just implemented our Raptor system, which every visitor comes in and they check their ID and cross-reference for criminal background. And we've had an outside agency to come in and do a comprehensive review of our system with all safety aspects. And the result of that, we had a very high rating. We still got some things to work on. But what we've got now is other school systems are coming to visit ours to see what we're doing with safety. The dollars that we had for that, we felt we have optimized that to have the safest environment possible for our schools. Some of our capital projects that are ongoing right now are in the works, are on your right side there. That's just a few of them there, and so we're really excited about the improvements that are coming our way for our kids. So that leads to a planning. So we developed a strategic plan a couple years ago, and we involved community members, stakeholders, teachers, administrators, and we came up with a framework, and each of these cells has a comprehensive plan with that, and a 5-year with benchmarks and goals that we want to hit. And it revolves around the academics, arts and activities, facilities, funding, and student services. So you're going to see a lot of that in the presentation tonight. For our academic programs, we focus on college and career preparedness as part of our mission. But we also want to bring in our service organizations that include our arts and athletics pieces. This is just a couple of our bulleted programs here. Advanced placement, we'll talk a little bit about this later, but our STEM program, we're building a STEM program that's in the works now based on a lot of feedback and where we are. We've really focused on workforce development. Our virtual school, we've tapped into that. We found there's a need for that. Our athletics and fine arts programs have also been an emphasis. So in each of those, in our STEM program, We've got things going on everywhere in all kind of grade levels. Just about in every school that wanted one, they've got a green power team, and they race those cars. We just hosted our first race last week in our school system, and we've got some tremendous community partners with that. We've got robotics going on in our elementary, middle, and high schools, and they're actually winning state championship competitions with that and competing at the national level. We have cybersecurity programs that have developed that is a cutting-edge program working with universities and other stakeholders on that. Our Project Lead the Way is an engineering program that starts targeting kids in the 3rd grade to get them ready to think about those STEM fields with that. So you've got to start early, and we're going to develop our plan to have a K-12 STEM plan with that, and we're looking forward to Keith George that just came on with the State Department of Education to help continue to build and develop that plan. With workforce development, we have more students graduating with career certifications than we have in the history of our school system, and in a variety of ways. So our career academies are stronger than ever. The JAG program is Jobs for Alabama Growth. This is a program that the governor has emphasized and funded, and she chose Madison County Schools as the place for it to flourish. She has funded us with grants to build that program, and we're in the first year of that. It targets at-risk kids and gets them job development and job placements, and it follows them as they graduate, so we're excited to be a part of that. Our work-based opportunities are growing tremendously. This is a new thing that we started this year where we have co-op programs. We have co-op teachers. We have 4 co-op teachers, and they track kids in co-op placements. We have about 500 students this semester doing co-ops. They're doing work-based learning. Their classroom is in the workplace. So we're preparing those students for their future endeavors where they can learn what they like or maybe even what they don't. With our fine arts, our fine arts, we don't have a fine arts person at our district level. We don't have the staff to do that. But what happens when you have a successful school system and you have schools with good leadership and you let teachers to have the freedom to be creative and to build programs, is you have fine arts programs like the ones that we have flourishing all across our system. We have incredible talented teachers that are developing the talent of our elementary, middle, and high school students, and whether it's from photography, performing arts, theater, chorus, band, and they're competing at an elite level and are second to none. Athletics, we've got some that have kind of come in the door that we're recognizing later tonight at our board meeting. A state championship basketball team that's hanging around. We'll be recognizing them when our board meeting starts after this. But it's just an example. It's almost hard to keep up with all of our schools that are competing and winning state championships. And guys, this is a part of something that supports the academic program. Whether it's cheerleaders or student sections, all of that, when you have successful athletic programs, it supports academics. And strong athletic programs are really evidence of a strong school system that basically has it going on in all phases. And then you look at our extracurriculars that are growing and that have a vast array of options. Our archery teams that we have elementary, middle, and high school kids participating, where hundreds of students are participating and performing at the state level, and we'll be competing even at the World Championships in Kentucky later on this school year. We're one of the top performing schools and school systems in the state on that. And we even have fishing teams, bowling teams. There's mountain biking teams that are popping up. And those are things that flourish and develop when you're taking care of things at a base level and allow the teachers to do the work to be able to come in and provide for students. And those, again, support the academic programs that we have. So you got to have a professional development plan. We have bought all in our system to professional learning communities. And we're going to talk just a little bit about what a professional learning community is. There's really 3 big ideas of a professional learning community, and it's that all students will learn at a high level. That's going to happen. And that's kind of a different way of thinking. It may be easier said than done. Some people are like, well, most students can learn at high levels. No. If you think that, Madison County Schools isn't the place for you. All students are going to learn at a high level. Doesn't necessarily mean they're all going to take AP Calculus, but they can learn at a high level in welding or machining or agriculture or writing or performing arts. They're going to learn at a high level. You got to build collaboration and collective responsibility. What that does is end the educational lottery, not the lottery that's Montgomery's talking about now. That's the lottery of, I hope I get this third grade teacher because she's the best third grade teacher, and I hope surely I don't get that one. That lottery, that's the one that if you have that in your schools, where if you have 4 third grade teachers and the parents are all wanting to get in one class and not the other, you're not doing it right. So what a collective responsibility is everybody in that third grade is responsible for all of those third grade students. And our principals are making sure that that teamwork and collaboration happens. And at the end of the day, you got to focus on results. The process every day isn't about that test score, but if you're doing things right, the results are going to matter. And if you're not getting results, you need to intervene and take action to get where you need to be. Going to shift gears a little bit and talk about student services. You know, we've learned now, if we're going to expect high learning at high levels, we're embracing taking care of our students as a whole. And this is a tremendous challenge, and it's probably one of the biggest challenges faced by our school administrators, teachers, and education today. So how are we meeting the needs of our students? Well, first, we're partnering with some great organizations. The Wellstone Partnership and the Alabama Department of Mental Health, we've signed a memorandum of understanding for them to provide mental health care services to our students in our schools. The board allocated additional funding this year in the budget so that all schools will have access to a mental health counselor. If they have a student that has a need, we can make referrals and we can start to try to tackle this problem. And guys, this is becoming a huge, I don't want to necessarily use the word epidemic, but this is a barrier for so many students that we've got to address. Our community partners are helping our students make sure they have food at nights and on the weekends. We have clinics now that are on our campuses that have doctors and RNs, and they have dental where they can go see a dentist on their school campus or go see an optometrist there too. The board has chosen to invest in counselors. We've added counselors this school year. And every school in our system has a registered nurse, an RN in every single school. That's not something we get state funding for. You saw the graph where we have limited resources, one of the lowest in the system, but this is something that we found has deemed valuable. We've got to make that happen, so we've got to budget in a way so we can afford to do those things. Of all the different things that we've done in the last 4.5 years since I've been here, what we're doing in our student services is I'm the most proud of, and I think we've seen that's what saves kids and helps change their lives. We've got so many community partners, it's impossible to meet. We have dozens of nonprofits, but also companies that are being good citizens and that are giving back to their schools. And just appreciate those partners so much. The community that are involved in that, I mentioned our community advisory groups and our parent groups. A couple on the left are some of the schools, the associations that really help us, the realtors, the home builders, the chamber, and the schools foundation, as they just give so much time and effort, and then they help us with other resources too. Communications is tied into this. We've got to be able to tell our story to be able to reach out and get more of that support for our students. Some of the things that we're doing to try to help do that, we're going to be upgrading our website. We're going to have a new website to roll out the next school year. That's going to be much more interactive and easier to use. We're using Peach Jar, that's digital distribution of flyers to help reach more. And we've got a spotlight that we send out that highlights stuff going on in our schools. Our traditional media coverage has been greater than it's ever been in the history of our school system. In fact, in the last 12 months, we've been on traditional media, traditional TV, local media, over 1,000 times in stories. So we are starting to get our message out more than we have ever before. And then at the end of the day, you got to be able to perform in the classroom. You got to be able to make the grade. You got to be able to, and we want to be the best. That was kind of the goal coming in. We kind of treat our peers as in the large school systems in the state. There's 9 large school systems in the state. That's school systems with more than 15,000 students. And we're also, in our peer group, are the 67 county systems in the state. So that's kind of our peer group we always kind of compare ourselves with. So looking at the testing from grades 3 through 11, for the first time in a long time, we actually are number 1 in the state in our academic achievement among all large systems and all county systems. So. Guys, and the folks that are here are the reasons for that. Our teachers in the classrooms and all of our support personnel that have built to that achievement. That's a tough thing to climb to. But we're also number 1 in advanced placement course enrollment. We have more students that take those high-level classes than any other system in the state, with more than 3,000 last year. We're also number 1 in the state on students that are passing those tests, with over 1,100 qualifying scores last year. Every single qualifying score earns college credit, saving our families millions of dollars in college tuition, and providing a rigorous level of classroom instruction that is as unparalleled that's been in the history of our system. And now it's just become normal. It's what we do. It's what our students take. Some other things in our academic performance: all-time high graduation rate this past year, all-time high career college readiness indicator rate, more blue ribbon schools, lighthouse schools than ever before with 18. Our academic report card that's by the State Department of Education, 93% of our schools increased their grade from the previous year. All of our grades are an A or a B. Our system average is an 89. Every indicator you look at, we are performing at an elite level, and we're not going to stop, and that's due to you. So I'm going to just take a minute and just thank the board for working as a team to be able to do this. Students cannot do this with the board that is not functioning at a high level. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to work together to help us improve and look for ways, and the support that you give us. I appreciate that. I want to thank our principals that are here this evening. And I don't know how big the crowd would have been if anybody would have come if we hadn't asked the principals to come, but the principals are here. They're always do. They support in the classroom. They're the instructional leader. Every single principal that we have is an instructional leader. And it is the toughest job in education, is being a principal. You got to be able to do everything. And I just appreciate your sacrifices, your effort, and just the emotional equity you put into your job every single day. I want to thank our teachers. That I don't think there's better teachers in the state. There's teachers jumping that want to be a part of our team to work in teams. We kind of had a challenge for teachers this year to work in teams, to have that mutual accountability. We were kind of worried, teachers by nature kind of want to work in isolation. Let me just take care of my babies in the classroom here. They have accepted that challenge, and we're seeing the fruits of that. I want to thank our support team members. So we've got 1,300 certified employees, team members, but we have 2,300 total employees, our team members. So we've got 1,000 folks that support our teachers and our students, or what's going on in there. It's a tremendous investment, but it's also, you've got to have that support to have that success in that classroom. So every single person that may not necessarily have that one-on-one involvement with the student is integral for the success of our students. And finally, I want to thank the district level team that supports me on a daily basis, that puts up with me, whether it's the crazy ideas or the kind of off the wall things, and they help keep me in a lane. But it is an incredible team to work with. I don't think there's a better team around, and I just appreciate all the support they provide. With that said, congratulations to you, to our teachers, our support team members, and our students, and appreciate everything you can do that makes our school system an elite school system. Thank you. We're going to have now, this is done, y'all can hang out. We're going to have a board meeting to start in about 5 to 10 minutes, and I appreciate everything.